Rock and roll pioneer Little Richard temporarily quit performing that particular style of music during the late 50s, embarking on a 4-year course of religious studies at the Oakwood Theological College in Huntsville, Alabama. He remarked, "The Lord is on the side of the ballad singers. Rock and roll is strictly Satan's music. Sure, I made a lot of money out of rock and roll. Now I want to make up for my sins for the rest of my life." By ballad singers, I'm assuming he meant old-fashioned singers, like the one here, Perry Como. But Como's career began during the pre-rock and roll era in the 30s, but he continued to have hit records even up until last year, many years after his death. Rock and roll began to come on the scene during the 50s, but was it really all strictly Satan's music? It might have seemed innocent enough to many listeners at the time, young or old. I have a tape here of old rock songs which my late Uncle Jim gave to me after he started to lose his hearing. Look on the back of it. You got Raining in My Heart, Blue Moon, Bye Bye Love, I Only Have Eyes for You, Take Good Care of My Baby, You're 16, You're Beautiful and You're Mine, My Little Girl, I Remember, Two People in the World, Sweet Nothings, It's Late, I Want You to Be My Girl, Unchained Melody, She Little Sheila, Party Doll, I'll Never Get Over You, Only 16. That's a sort of a decent song about a 16-year-old girl not being ready for a serious relationship. Ain't Misbehaving, Born Too Late. I think all these songs would more than likely seem innocent enough to the mass majority of people. However, they are all from the earliest days of rock and roll, when it was still in its infancy. It did start to get less innocent as time went on. In fact, former disc jockey Cal Walker said that in much modern music there are 5 basic themes: sex, drugs, violence, occult, and rebellion. The first thing mentioned by this former DJ is certainly something which music and movie fans are fed a staple diet of nowadays, and in the 70s even songs by older performers were alluding to it. The aforementioned Perry Como had a hit with a song called For the Good Times in 1973, a song which seems to suggest a couple sleeping together after the breakup of their relationship in order to fantasise that they still love each other. But many pop songs are somewhat more explicit than this, such as a chart-topping Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood in the 80s. Because the song describes oral sex in graphic detail, it was dropped from the Radio 1 playlist in 1984. The controversy surrounding the song has been believed to have boosted its success, lifting it from the number 6 position in the charts to the top spot for 5 consecutive weeks, going on to enjoy prolonged chart success throughout the year, and ultimately becoming the 7th best-selling UK single of all time. The song Two Become One by the Spice Girls is similarly sexually suggestive, containing an obvious reference to using a condom in one line. But the Bible warns against listening to such lyrics in the book of Ephesians, where it says, "But fornication and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becometh saints, neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks." The second common theme running but prevalent throughout much of modern music, according to this DJ, is drugs. In 1966, the album Sunshine Superman was released by the Scottish singer Donovan, with the title track containing the line, "I know a beach where, baby, it never ends," a probable reference to LSD, The following year, the Beatles released their Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band LP, on which the song "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds" can be found. Despite the initials of the song and its imagery having obvious psychedelic implications, John Lennon contended that the inspiration for the song came from a drawing his son did of a little girl he went to school with called Lucy. However, Paul McCartney, who wrote many of the Beatles songs with Lennon, has admitted that this song and others, including "Got to Get You Into My Life" and "Day Tripper," are influenced by the band's drug use. Jimi Hendrix, a hard rock guitarist and singer who died in 1970 from an overdose of drugs, recorded a song called "The Stars That Play with Laughing Sam's Dice." When you come to think of it, what are the initials of Laughing Sam's Dice? Other songs by this stock contain psychedelic imagery of Purple Haze and Spanish Castle Magic. Another rock star who died the following year, Jim Morrison, also from a drugs overdose, invokes psychedelic imagery in many of the songs he wrote and performed with his group, The Doors, who took their name from the book The Doors of Perception, an autobiographical account of a psychedelic experience of Aldous Huxley. Take, for example, the song "People Are Strange." Don't these lyrics sound somewhat odd to you? People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. Some bands from the late 60s not only invoke this type of imagery into their songs, but also had names which were connected with the drug culture. For instance, the heavy metal pioneers Blue Cheer were believed to have named themselves after a variety of LSD, although some may contend that they may instead have named themselves after the laundry detergent the variety of LSD itself is named after. One band formed during the mid-70s, however, has a name which is without a doubt a drug reference. They are Motorhead, and their name is slang for speed freak or a person addicted to amphetamines. To give you an idea of the style of music played by them, their bassist and vocalist Lemmy prophesied in 1975 that they would be the dirtiest rock and roll band in the world. If you moved in next door, your lawn would die. This statement is significant because it has been experimentally proven that noisy rock music damages plants in the same way excess water or heavy winds do. But violence, occult and rebellion are also themes which are common in the field of modern music. A study published in the May issue of the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that violent song lyrics increase negative emotions and thoughts that can lead to expression. The study challenges the ancient Greek catharsis hypothesis, which claims that expressing aggressive emotion will later decrease aggressive behaviour. In 5 experiments, lead author Craig Anderson, PhD, of Iowa State University, asked more than 500 college students to listen to such violent songs as "Shoot 'Em Up" by Cypress Hill and "Hit 'Em Hard" by Run DMC, and such non-violent songs as "Finger Licking Good" by the Beastie Boys and "Love vs. Loneliness" by the Suicidal Tendencies. They also listened to humorous, violent and non-violent songs. After listening to these songs, the students performed various word association tasks to test whether they linked more non-aggressive words with aggressive words or filled incomplete words with vowels to make aggressive words. They also reported their feelings of hostility as measured by the state hostility scale, ranking sentences based on their emotions after hearing the songs. Thus, the results indicate a relationship between violent song lyrics and increased aggressive thoughts and feelings of hostility. As for the fourth theme mentioned by the DJ, the occult, I will touch more on that in part 4 of this discussion. As regards rebellion, if you think there's none of that in modern music, there's a couple of music videos I would suggest you could watch to change your mind. Bad Boys by Wham! And Do Anything You Want To by Thin Lizzy. I hope you have found this discussion to be interesting and informative.